Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to Doom Eternal's DLC. The Ancient Gods, Part 1. Where, as you can see, I haven't quite moved very far from the end of the last episode. I'd like to very much finish this fight tonight. Move on with my life, that sort of thing. It's definitely very tricky. I do a decent enough job to bringing him down halfway, but that's when everything gets crowded, that's when eyeballs start showing up, and the blood makers start running around. What is going to be a good opening salvo? That is an excellent opening salvo. How many... I was gonna say, how many shots do these things take? Ah. Alright. So, this is my usual. I guess it's going fine. Oh, that's not the big bad. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's switch to the double-barreled. Let's also pick up... Oh, did I already pick it up? I may have already picked it up then. Ah! Okay, that's it for this phase. And now he's going to power up these two guys. The Hell Spawn is probably going to be the one that I'm going to be worried about the most. And I'm dead. Okay, this is going to be tricky. Especially since I don't really have much ammo left. Or at the very least, I didn't have much ammo left before the checkpoint. I don't know exactly how... Or at least I don't remember how this game restores you. What are we going to do differently? Oh my god. I did not realize that my health was that close. Wow. What are we gonna do differently? Other than not die. Like, That I have no guarantees on. Sir, can you... Can you please... Oh my gosh. There's just... What are we gonna do differently? Sniper rifle? I don't... Rocket launcher? And I guess let's go for the guy on the right now. Wow. There is so much going on. Wow. Maybe let's go for chain gunning the guy on the right. Maybe that'll be the difference. Oh. Son of a... See, the problem is, it's not just defeating these spirit-powered enemies, it's also defeating the spirits, it's also dealing with the Bloodmaker that is running around, it's also dealing with the beams that are running around. Alright, let's... Oh, what on earth just hit me? Oh my gosh. You! Just... Lie down. All right. What am I even doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't have any BFG ammo anymore because I wasted it. Let's try the guy on the right again. What are we gonna... Problem is, I don't know what I can do differently. Other than... Oh my gosh. Other than, I suppose, loading a checkpoint with the Sentinel armor. That would be different. Though I do seem to have better success going after the guy on the right the guy on the left, because I've at least reduced the guy on the right down to nothing. A couple times. Oh my... people. Leave me alone for a minute. Let's get some health. Except now I've got... Where is... Oh. Oh, now it's just a regular guy. So not only do I have to deal with the spirit guys and the Bloodmaker still... I still have the regular guy running around, and wow, I have no ammo for anything. Okay, I guess that's something. Okay. That knocked out the spirits. Am I done?
He removed me from this place.
I think I'm done. I think I did it.
That you end his life. Your mission here is now your own.
Huh. Okay. And there is the hall in which no blood has been spilt.
Consequences of your actions here are irreversible.
The Doom guy doesn't really seem to be necessarily worried about the consequences of his actions. A lot of his actions have been quite irreversible. Although I wonder, is this going to end with Ancient Gods Part 2? Or is this also going to kind of lead into the next Doom game? Like the defeat of the Dark Lord. Like, do we actually defeat him in the next episode? Or the next DLC? And what does it mean to give the Dark Lord form? Like, what exactly is the Doom guy walking into? Or is
The Lord is the leader of Hell's armies, not a king, but a warrior of the Dark Realm.
is the Dark Lord essentially...
As only the strongest could rule the demons. It is you, in their world.
I was going to say, are you going to have to fight against a version of yourself who has all of your abilities? And... Alright. 1.86% of people who have... Is that of the people who have the game have completed that? Because that was sure a pain in the ass. Oh my gosh. Alright. That was the Ancient Gods Part 1, the DLC for Doom Eternal. I feel as though there's going to have to be some recovery time for myself. It's not. I don't know if this was necessarily more stressful as much as just chaos. Just chaos. I feel as though, like, if you look at the DLC as a whole, it kind of encapsulates the worst design decisions of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. That being, you're just moving from arena fight to a different arena fight. Like, the level structure doesn't necessarily mean much other than a corridor in between arena battles. And when you get to arena battles, all you're doing is just fighting big assortments of enemies. Battles are more fights for attrition. And I found myself, while playing through the DLC, I found myself focusing more on the mechanics of playing the game, rather than being immersed in the game. And the difference that I would say that shows is, as I was playing the game, I would focus on, like, okay, I need to use this item to do this. I need to use this weapon to do that. I need to use the frozen grenade to blast that guy. And I'm focusing more on the mechanics of defeating specific bad guys, rather than just trying to survive. Because just trying to survive is not enough. Just trying to hold on by the skin of my teeth is not enough. I need to do... That's something that the DLC definitely requires you to do. It definitely requires you to have a little bit more mastery of the game itself. But at the same time, like, they throw in just, I would argue, too many bad guys. Because when you're running around the level, and there are so many bad guys that it can be almost impossible not to dash into somebody. Like, that's just a bit too much. Just relax. Just take it easy. It's like the designers of the DLC felt that the main takeaway from Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 was it needed to be challenging. Although, to be fair, that is the classic idea of a DLC. That was the classic idea of an expansion pack. When you played Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness, and then you went into Warcraft 2 Beyond the Dark Portal, it was a harder game. You essentially started off as if the difficulty was just continued ramping up. I would say a more modern take on the DLC is generally like giving you a new storyline, but the difficulty itself would be kind of encapsulated within the DLC. It wouldn't really be considered an extension of the main game as much as its own escalation, and would generally have that same path. Which, it's fine for a game to want to be challenging, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily feel as though it's creatively challenging. It's basically saying, oh, you've beaten one cyber demon, how about 2 cyber demons? Oh, you defeated one Doom Maker, how about 2 Doom Makers? How about 7 Mancubus? How about a cyber demon and a marauder? How about 2 marauders? How about spirited enemies? What about multiple spirited enemies? What if the ground was electrified? Actually, the main game does that too. But if you think about it, look at Doom 2016. Think about how the difficulty escalates in Doom 2016. Because eventually you fight a cyber demon by himself. And that's it. Like, the idea wasn't necessarily to make a whole bunch of enemies circle you. Just the individual cyber demon was tough enough to present a challenge. Which I suppose kind of shows you a little bit of the design decisions for Doom Eternal as well. Because Doom Eternal was like, oh, imps? Those guys are just whatever. They're background noise. We're just gonna throw dozens of imps at you. And I suppose you could argue that Doom 2016 to Doom Eternal is kind of like Doom 1 to Doom 2. Because, like, Doom 2 it introduced a couple more enemies, but it largely filled its environments with tons of enemies. It made areas bigger, more maze-like, but it was just, oh, we're going to, like, the first couple levels throw at you more regular soldiers and imps than any of the first levels of Doom 1. Which, it's an interesting sort of escalation, but then but Doom 2 still offers levels that are meant to be explored. And that, I think, is probably the main issue I have with the DLC, is that it just does feel like moving from one arena to the next arena, and then every arena is kind of like just a slightly different color of ruin. I think I gave Doom 2016 a 9 out of 10, and then I gave Doom Eternal an 8 out of 10, because I don't think Doom Eternal quite reached the same heights that Doom 2016 did. Especially since its reliance on platforming definitely pulled it back for me, because the platforming didn't quite work out. So if I gave Doom Eternal an 8 out of 10, I feel as though a 6 out of 10 would be unfair. That just feels too low of a score to give this game, because it's still very well, you can see the effort put into it, mostly in the environments. There's a lot of big environments for you to explore, even if they didn't necessarily make any new enemies. It's hard to tell whether I'm still having fun with the game, as the game escalates itself, and that's kind of why I feel myself being a little bit iffy as to what I would actually give this a score for. Like, am I necessarily having a good time while throwing myself against this wall of a challenge? What would I suggest? What would I suggest as ways to kind of clean up the DLC? One, no marauders because they suck. Two, more extra lives. That seems a little bit missing, and I feel as though like the presence of extra lives in Doom Eternal was interesting because it allowed the game to be a mess. It allowed the difficulty to be all over the place, and it was fine because you could still survive by the skin of your teeth. Whereas without the extra lives, it makes you focus so much more on the technique, on the technical side of things. So I would probably insert more extra lives into the game. What else? Okay, so no marauders, no extra lives. Maybe fewer arena battles. Like there were a few too many arena battles when you're moving from place to place. Extend those levels. Have fewer arena battles. Like it feels a bit like filler at some point because it's just a roadblock in ruins. And it would also kind of allow the focus to be less on, hey, you're going to fight this combo of goons, followed by this combo, followed by this combo, and it feels more like you'd be exploring levels. So that's what I would do. No marauders, extra lives, fewer arena battles. That would have probably jumped it up to an 8 out of 10, but unfortunately there were marauders in this game, so 0. I'm just kidding. I would probably give this a 7 out of 10. Anything less feels unfair. Anything more kind of ignores the fact that there's just... You're just fighting, like... They just spilled their bad guys all over their arenas. And that's it. Which doesn't necessarily feel as creative. When they're just saying copy and paste for their bad guys, it's not quite that interesting. But Ancient Gods Part 1 is done. I suppose we'll be back for more because I'm clearly a masochist in Ancient Gods Part 2. If you have any suggestions for something to play next, leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a good night.